Hi, I'm Rita Wilkins, also known as the Downsizing Designer. So, tonight's topic is one that might be of interest to you because so many people have been asking me about this, and because you do ask what I can talk about, we put it on the editorial calendar for this month. So, the topic is a minimalist top 3 tips when cleaning out your parents' home. So perhaps you have friends or family who have experienced cleaning out your parents' home after they've passed away. And you probably heard them tell many stories about how difficult it is because they were not only grieving their loss, but they were also tasked to clear out a lifetime of belongings while still running their own life. So there's a lot going on during that time, and if you've been through it, and many of us have, it's a difficult time. It's an emotional time. It's hard work to clean out your parents' home. So many of them who you might have talked to who have experienced this already were probably so overwhelmed and they were emotional at that time. So it was just easier to pack it all up and put much of it into their own homes, so their basement, their attic, whatever, and maybe even a storage unit until they could deal with it later on. So years later, of course, many complained that the furniture and all the boxes are from their parents' home are still sitting in their basement. And this is many years later. So their basement, their attic, their garage are full of their parents' things that weren't taken care of completely. So they continue to pay for that storage unit. They continue to deal with all those boxes and everything in the basement. So fast forward then, because you didn't deal with it, your kids have to. And chances are, that much of the parents' things that have been stored in your basement all of these years will then just get thrown out. So this is not a pretty picture or a subject that one really wants to talk about, but part of what I have to do as the downsizing designer is to talk about some of these difficult subjects. So if you are trying to clean out your parents' home right now, you're probably asking, how do you honor your parents and the lifetime of their possessions while also respecting your own home and respecting yourself, especially if you're trying to declutter and downsize your home? So how do you clean out your parents' home without filling up your own home? Big subject, and one that people are asking me about all the time. So I thought, well, I'm going to address this tonight. So for sure, cleaning out your parents' home is one of the hardest things that we're tasked to do in our lifetime. But if you follow these 3 simple minimalist tips and principles, they will help you create a foundation for a better decision-making process. And when you have this kind of down pat ahead of time, even now thinking about it, it will help you later on when you do have to go through this. So in the long run, during this very emotional time, these tips will help you they'll help you avoid the mistake of cluttering your own home with the things that you don't want, need, or you will not use. So the first of those tips, if you're cleaning out your parents' home, is to commit to your own values and what matters most to you. So if you're trying to downsize and declutter your own home, and if you're committed to living with less, why bring the things into your home that are going to just cause more clutter, cause chaos, and actually cause more stress? And the second thought is to be firm about what you allow into your home. Now, this is a minimalist principle that many of us have because when you buy less, you have less to clutter the home. And so bringing your parents' things into your home is just going to bring more clutter if you don't want it or if you don't need it. And then the third point there is to bring only the things that matter to you, what will add value. So as an example, if you ask yourself if you really need all of that furniture from your parents' home, all of those accessories, the artwork, everything else, or would maybe that one special chair that your dad used to sit in and read the newspaper, and one that you like yourself, and then one that you would use, would that be more important than not buying, but bringing all of that furniture in? So the bottom line is just be very selective and have it be based on your values, what you really want. And then the second one is to set boundaries and to prioritize what you actually need, what will actually fit in your own home. So if you're trying to downsize and you know you're going to be living in a smaller home, the question becomes like, why would you bring in so much more stuff and then you're going to have to store it in a storage unit anyway? So on another Facebook Live, I will address like, what do you do with the stuff? But now we're just talking about how not to clutter your own home with all the extra stuff. And the third thing is to make intentional decisions, to have the confidence to say no. And when you know what you value, and let's just say that you value having less and less clutter, when you set those priorities and boundaries about what you will allow into your home, you kind of ask yourself, what is the cost of this? What's it going to, will it cost me my own, what I value? Is it going against that grain and what your goals are for a simpler life? So there is a cost involved in bringing these kind of things into your home. So when you have confidence to say no, to be true to yourself, not be influenced by the outside pressure to say yes to, only to what you want and say no to what you don't want. So when a family is breaking up a family home, as many of us have done or will do, there is pressure. There's a pressure. Well, you should have this or you should have that. Well, I know in my case, I did have a big house at that time, and I did bring a lot of stuff from our parents' home that ultimately I got rid of, over a longer period of time. But the goal here might be to not clutter in the first place and to be more selective about what you do bring in. So this will provide, a truer freedom to live the life that you want, free of that unwanted clutter, the excess stuff, and to experience less stress during this very stressful time with your parents passing, and they'll be less overwhelmed. So, and also you'll know then that you've honored your parents by bringing just those fewer things that really matter to you, that you will use. You're honoring their memory by surrounding yourself with those things. It doesn't have to be sitting in the basement. You're certainly not honoring them there, but you would be if you had a certain chair that you sat in or pieces of artwork that you surround yourself that were meaningful to you, that maybe sat over your family piano, whatever it is. But that's a way of honoring your parents and respecting yourself at the same time by only keeping a few items that you want and need and will use. And they'll remind you each day of your loved ones, and they'll help you avoid that undue stress and overwhelm of all that extra clutter. So I hope this helps. I will be addressing this topic several times in the next couple of months because so many people are asking me about it. So if you want your voice to be heard, if you have questions, please email me at ritawilkins@ritawilkins.com, because I really care that you're having these issues, and if there's anything I can do to assist you in any way, that's what I really am here for. Okay, thanks, and have a great week.